You've been officially removed from the guest list, speech schedule, and bridal party. That was the first thing the wedding planner said to me over the phone. No introduction. No soft landing. Just cold, polished professionalism, like she was canceling a catering order, not cutting a sister out of her own sibling's wedding. I stared at my phone for a second, unsure if I heard her right. I'm sorry, what? I asked, my voice trying to keep steady. She repeated it, word for word. Alina asked me to inform you that you've been removed from the guest list, speech schedule, and bridal party. Just like that. No explanation. No warning. Not even a text from my own sister. I pressed the phone to my ear, feeling that familiar tightness in my chest, disappointment mixed with something worse, familiarity. Because this wasn't the first time my sister treated me like a disposable side character in her perfect little narrative, but this time, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't ask why. Instead, I smiled. And said two words I never thought I'd say so calmly in a moment like this: perfect. The planner paused on the other end, probably unsure how to respond. But I didn't need her to say anything else. I thanked her, yes, seriously, and hung up, and the moment I did, I felt free, because what started as heartbreak turned into a quiet, unexpected kind of peace. For once in my life, I wasn't holding on to something, or someone, that didn't value me. But before I get to that part, let me take you back a bit, because this wasn't just about a wedding. This was about years of being overlooked, overused, and underestimated. It was about family roles written in stone since childhood. And how I finally chose myself, on the exact day my sister erased me. Alina and I are only 2 years apart. Growing up, people always assumed we were close. Two sisters, sharing clothes, secrets, and sleepovers. But in reality, it was always her in the spotlight, and me making sure the lighting looked just right. She was the golden child. The one who could do no wrong. My parents doted on her, praised her every achievement, hung her certificates on the wall like art. Me? I was the helper. The one who stayed quiet, kept things running in the background, and never caused a fuss. When Alina got engaged, I honestly thought things were changing between us. She called me crying the night Ryan proposed, not because she was unsure about him, but because the ring wasn't big enough. I stayed up late that night reassuring her. The next day, I helped her announce it on social media, edited her caption, and even coordinated her engagement photo outfit. She told me, "You're not just my sister, you're my rock." And for a while, I believed her. I threw her engagement party, booked the venue, designed the invites, paid for the catering. I helped organize bridal shower games. I drafted her wedding website and managed RSVPs. I even fronted the deposit for her wedding dress when her credit card bounced temporarily. She told everyone, I honestly couldn't do this without her. But slowly, without warning, the dynamic shifted. She started looping in her best friend Kelsey more and more. At first, it was harmless, dress fittings, cake tastings, quick group chats. Then it became wedding planning meetings that I wasn't invited to. Vendors started emailing me less. She stopped sharing updates with me directly. One day, she posted a TikTok calling Kelsey the true sister of my soul. That stung, but I told myself it didn't matter. As long as I was still there, still part of it, still seen. But the truth was, I wasn't. And then came the call. The call that confirmed what I had quietly suspected for weeks. I wasn't just demoted. I was deleted, and Alina didn't even have the courage to say it herself. She hired someone to erase me. To the wedding planner, it was probably just a line item. Remove one name from the spreadsheet, delete a speech from the timeline, reprint the seating chart. Simple. Clean. But to me, it felt like years of loyalty, sacrifice, and second chances being wiped away with one click. And still, I said, perfect. Not out of spite, not to sound strong, but because in that moment, I realized I had nothing left to lose. No reason left to keep playing the role I never auditioned for. I had given my sister everything she asked for, and she gave me silence in return. So I gave her something back, space, and in that space, I found myself. I know people say weddings bring out the worst in families. But in this case, it revealed a truth that had always been there. I was loved for what I did, not for who I was, and once I stopped I stopped existing in her world. But here's the thing, when someone removes you from their life like you're a problem to solve or an error to fix, don't fight to stay, say thank you. And walk out like the door was always meant to be open, because sometimes being cut out is the clean break you never had the strength to make yourself. And sometimes, when they say, you're no longer involved, you realize, you never really were. Growing up, my sister Alina was what you'd call the golden child. And I don't just mean our parents' favorite, I mean the one who could trip over her own feet and still get applauded for her grace. Straight A's. Head cheerleader. Prom queen twice. The kind of girl who walked into a room and made people stand up straighter. She had this shine about her, this glow, that everyone seemed obsessed with polishing, and me? I was the ghost, not in a sad, invisible kind of way, at least not at first. I was the quiet one. The calm one. The one who cleaned up after birthday parties, edited school essays at midnight, ran errands without being asked. I didn't wear sparkly dresses or win homecoming. But I got things done. I was the glue Mom would always say, Alina's our star. You're a rock. It sounded like a compliment, until I got older and realized rocks don't get attention. They just hold the weight. Alina and I were never enemies. In fact, there were moments when we were close, especially when no one was watching. Like when our dog died and she crawled into bed with me, sobbing until sunrise. Or when she got dumped at prom and I drove across town with ice cream and no questions. I was always there for her. So when she called me screaming with joy one night, he proposed. Ryan proposed. I didn't hesitate. I popped champagne, made toasts, posted the perfect Instagram caption for her, and instantly fell into planning mode. Even though I wasn't sure about Ryan, from the very beginning, he rubbed me the wrong way. There was something too polished, too smug. The kind of guy who referred to himself in the third person. He once snapped at a waitress for forgetting lemon in his water, then tipped her 5% out of spite. But Alina adored him, and she made it clear, if I loved her, I'd love him too. So I bit my tongue. I helped plan the engagement party, from venue booking to table settings. When the florist canceled last minute, I drove across town and picked up fresh arrangements myself. I even paid half the deposit on the photographer because Alina's account was a little tight this month. No, thank you. Just, you're a lifesaver. What would I do without you? At the time, it felt like love. Like sisterhood. She even gave me a nickname, maid of honor and manager of everything. And you know what? I wore that title like a badge. I made her wedding binder. I color-coded the calendar. I scheduled dress fittings, coordinated with the caterer, helped her write vendor emails, and even pretended to like the bridal gown that made her look like a frosted cupcake because it was her dream. I was all in, but about 3 months before the wedding, things started shifting. At first, it was small things. She stopped responding in our shared planning chat. She started creating side group texts with her other bridesmaids, but left me out. Then one day, I saw on Instagram that she'd had a dress fitting with Kelsey, her college best friend. No heads up. No invite. I brushed it off. Told myself, it's fine. I'm still the maid of honor. Probably just a scheduling mix-up. Then came the rehearsal dinner prep. I showed up with notes, timelines, ideas for centerpieces. The wedding planner greeted me with an awkward smile and said, "Oh? Kelsey's handling that now." I blinked. "Kelsey?" She nodded. "Didn't Alina tell you? There's been a few changes." A few changes. That night, I texted Alina. "Hey, am I still your maid of honor?" She left me on read. The next morning, she finally replied, "Don't take this the wrong way, but I just think Kelsey fits the bridal vibe better. You're still invited, obviously. I hope this doesn't make things weird." Weird? I felt like I'd been sucker punched by someone I thought I could trust. All I'd done was love her, support her, carry her through this entire process. And now, because I wasn't vibe enough, whatever that means, I was being quietly downgraded. I spent that whole day trying not to cry, telling myself it was okay. That maybe she just needed someone more flashy, more social. Maybe I was overreacting, but then came the kicker. She posted a TikTok, yes, a TikTok, with the caption, "Can't wait to marry the love of my life with my true soul sister by my side, 2 hearts, bride with veil, medium light skin tone, female sign, sparkles, #maid of honor." And the video? Her and Kelsey twirling in bridesmaid robes, sipping champagne. My name? Not even mentioned. That's when I finally understood. I was never supposed to shine, not in her world. My job was to support, never step into the light, and the saddest part? I was never even angry. I was just tired. Tired of being the dependable one. Tired of being used and then replaced. Tired of pretending like it didn't hurt. So I made a quiet decision. I would stop trying to earn a seat at a table I helped build. She didn't push me away, she showed me the door, and as painful as it was, I was finally ready to walk through it. It started subtly. First, Alina stopped replying to my texts right away. Messages that used to get an instant "OMG thank you" were suddenly left unread for hours, sometimes days. I told myself she was just busy. Weddings are stressful. Maybe she was overwhelmed, but then came the bridal shopping trip. It was supposed to be a fun girls' day out, trying on dresses, sipping bubbly, taking goofy mirror selfies. I showed up in a soft pink blouse, my hair done, a notebook in my bag full of fitting schedules and dress options I'd researched for weeks, and then I heard her say it, "This is Kelsey, my true sister in spirit." She said it with a proud smile, her arm looped around Kelsey's like they'd known each other forever. Everyone laughed and nodded, except me. I stood there, blinking, smiling politely, wondering if anyone noticed the look on my face. That phrase? Sister in spirit. It wasn't a random throwaway line. It was pointed. Designed to place Kelsey where I used to stand, next to Alina, in the spotlight. Still, I brushed it off. I told myself, it doesn't mean anything. You're the maid of honor. Titles don't matter, except, they do. And I was about to find out just how much. 2 weeks later, I showed up to the rehearsal dinner planning meeting. I had spent the night before finalizing seating arrangements, customizing a Spotify playlist, even printing out little mock-up menu cards. I walked into the venue feeling like I was still part of something important, something real, and then the wedding planner said it. She was going over the schedule for the speeches, pointing at her clipboard. Kelsey will do the toast as maid of honor right after the best man. I froze. I'm sorry, what? The planner blinked. Oh, didn't Alina tell you? There were changes. There it was. That word again. Changes. A polite way of saying you've been replaced, without the basic courtesy of letting me know that I didn't make a scene. I didn't yell or cry. I just stood there, notebook still in my hands, while the rest of the team nodded and kept talking like nothing was wrong. When I got home that night, I stared at my phone for a long time. I didn't want to send the message. But I had to. Hey Alina, am I still your maid of honor? 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. 5 minutes later, I got her reply, don't be dramatic. You're still invited. But Kelsey just fits the vibe better. Hope you understand. Fits the vibe better. That phrase hit harder than I expected. What was the vibe, exactly? Fake laughing at Ryan's controlling behavior? Posing for pictures instead of planning real details? Saying yes queen while ignoring every spreadsheet and budget breakdown I made? Let me be clear, I wasn't trying to run her wedding. I was trying to help her. Love her. Support her like I always had. I was the one who stayed up with her until 2 a.m. when she and Ryan had that awful fight about moving cities. I was the one who reassured her when she found out his mom didn't like her. I was the one who lent her $600 for her dress deposit when her credit card maxed out, and now I was being demoted. No, erased, like none of that ever happened. And the worst part, she acted like it was no big deal, like I should just smile, nod, and accept my new role as a silent spectator at the wedding I helped build from the ground up. I sat on my bed that night, surrounded by color-coded planners, receipts, fabric swatches, all the proof of everything I had done. I thought about every single moment I had shown up for her, and then I asked myself, had she ever truly shown up for me? The answer was uncomfortable, but clear. No. It had always been one-sided. I was her safety net, her emotional laborer, her fixer. But the moment I wasn't on brand for her wedding aesthetic, I was disposable. I kept thinking back to the way she said, don't be dramatic. How quickly she invalidated my hurt. How easily she assigned my pain to me being the problem, not her actions. And then it hit me. This wasn't just about the wedding, this was about a lifelong pattern of growing up. Alina took center stage. I clapped from the sidelines. And I was fine with that, because I believed that one day, the love I gave would come back around. But love doesn't work like that, not real love. Anyway, real love doesn't discard you when you're no longer useful. It doesn't replace you without a conversation. It doesn't gaslight you into believing you're too sensitive when your heart's been quietly shattered. That night, I didn't cry. I opened my laptop and canceled the vendor orders I had paid deposits on with my own money. I deleted the master schedule I'd been updating daily. I packed up the wedding binder I had spent months building, and put it in the recycling bin, and I made a decision. I would not be attending the wedding, not because I wanted revenge. Not to make a scene, but because I finally understood my worth of being part of someone's life shouldn't feel like a performance review, and if I had to beg to be treated like I mattered, then I was better off letting them go. The phone call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was folding laundry, half listening to a podcast, trying to act like my life was still on track, like my heart wasn't already bruised from weeks of slow, silent rejection. And then my phone rang. It was the wedding planner again. Her voice was calm, professional, detached. The kind of tone people use when delivering cancellation notices or termination letters. Hi. I just wanted to inform you that you've now been fully removed from the guest list, seating chart, and family photo arrangements. I didn't say anything for a moment. I just stood there with a sock in one hand and my phone in the other, waiting for the sting to come, but it didn't. Instead, I felt something unexpected, relief. She continued, Alina thought it would be less awkward this way. Less awkward, I almost laughed. Apparently, my existence, not my actions, not my words, not anything I did, was what made things uncomfortable. Just being present was too much. I took a deep breath, and without missing a beat, I said, perfect. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. She was probably waiting for some emotional meltdown. But I didn't give her one. I didn't cry. I didn't ask, why? I didn't even ask Alina to call me and explain herself. I was done playing the role of the discarded, heartbroken sister. Done waiting for an apology that would never come. Done trying to prove I was worthy of basic respect. After that call, I made 3 decisions. The first? I blocked Alina's number. Not in anger. Not out of spite. But because I needed space. Space to stop checking for messages that wouldn't arrive. Space to heal without reopening the wound every time her name popped up on my screen. The second? I refunded the dress I had bought for her wedding. A beautiful sage green floor-length gown with delicate beading, chosen to match the theme I helped her pick months ago. The tag was still on. I hadn't even worn it. Back to the store it went. And the third? I took the $1,200 I had saved for her wedding gift, money I'd been putting aside since her engagement, to buy something meaningful, like a honeymoon surprise or a sentimental piece of jewelry, and transferred it directly into my travel fund. Within hours, I had done something I never expected. I booked a solo trip to Iceland. The dates? The exact weekend of her wedding. I didn't tell anyone at first. Not even my parents. I just packed my bags, printed my flight confirmation, and stepped away from the chaos that had swallowed the last few months of my life. And when I landed in Reykjavik, I took the deepest breath I'd taken in years. That trip was nothing short of life-changing. I wandered through landscapes so vast and untouched they made me feel like a dot on the earth. I stood at the edge of Gullfoss waterfall, watching the icy spray blast upward as the river crashed below, loud and unapologetic, like nature itself was reclaiming its voice. I hiked through moss-covered lava fields and listened to the silence. Real silence. Not the silence of being ignored, or excluded, or pushed aside. But the silence of peace. I soaked in geothermal hot springs under a sky full of stars, no phone in my hand, no timelines to manage, no one asking me to fix anything. Just me, water, and sky. One night, I saw the northern lights for the first time, green and purple ribbons swirling above me, like the universe was dancing, and that's when I cried. Not for Alina. Not for the wedding. Not even for everything I had lost. I cried because, for the first time, I wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. I was just me, free, whole, and finally enough without needing to prove it to anyone. Back home, the wedding went on without me. I know this because my cousin sent me a few photos. Alina looked radiant, of course. The dress was stunning, the venue picture perfect, the smiles wide, but there was something about the pictures that caught my eye. In every single one, she was surrounded by people, but somehow, still looked alone. I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel satisfaction. Just distance, like watching a show you used to love but outgrew. A few days later, I got a message from my mom. You made your sister cry on her wedding day. That was it. No, how are you? No, what happened? Just blame. As if I had crashed the wedding or made a scene. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted one of my Iceland photos, a wide shot of me standing at the edge of a glacier, arms open, wind in my hair, smiling like someone who finally remembered how to breathe. The caption? She removed me from everything. So I gave myself everything. And that, right there, was the goodbye I never got to say, the sweet, silent goodbye to the version of me that begged for a seat at the table. To the girl who bent over backward to please people who wouldn't flinch to leave her behind. To the sister who kept showing up for someone who never showed up for her. She's gone now, and what's left in her place is someone stronger, calmer, whole. The wedding came and went. Without me, there was no dramatic confrontation. No last-minute call begging me to show up. Just silence. I spent the day hiking along a glacier in Iceland, bundled in layers, wind in my face, phone on silent. I didn't check social media. I didn't open texts. I didn't even think about what I was missing. Because the truth was, I wasn't missing anything. I was finally choosing myself. Later that evening, after soaking in a hot spring under streaks of gold and purple sky, I glanced at my phone. One message. From my cousin. She had sent me a few photos from the wedding. Alina looked beautiful, radiant, poised, glowing in her custom lace gown. The venue was elegant, the lighting was perfect, the guests all smiling in their formal wear, but when I looked closely, closer than most people probably would, I noticed something. The smile didn't reach her eyes. She was surrounded by friends, flowers, fairy lights. And still, something about her expression looked tight, posed, like she was checking off a box labeled "Be happy," instead of actually feeling it. And somehow, I wasn't surprised. 2 weeks later, I received a single message from my mom. Not a call, not a visit, just a text that read, "You made your sister cry on her big day." That was it. No, are you okay? No, what happened? No, I'm sorry we didn't include you. Just blame. Straight to the point. Like everything that had happened was my fault. As if my absence was more offensive than the way I had been treated. And that's when it finally hit me, not softly, but with the force of 1,000 small, ignored moments, that I had never been expected to shine in this family. I was expected to support. To serve. To stay quiet. To clean up the emotional messes and never make any of my own. I was the reliable one, the helper, the one who knew how to disappear when the spotlight needed to shine elsewhere, but I didn't want that role anymore. I never asked for it. And I certainly didn't want to grow old carrying it, so I didn't respond. I didn't explain myself, justify my actions, or write some poetic message hoping they'd finally understand. Instead, I posted a single photo on social media. It was from my last day in Iceland, me standing at the edge of a glacier, arms wide open, wind whipping my hair, sky painted with soft clouds and pastel sun. I looked genuinely happy, not Instagram happy. Not smile for family happy. But free. Deeply. Truly free. The caption, removed from everything. Free from everything. No hashtags. No tagging. No commentary. Just that, and to my surprise, the comments came flooding in, not from family, but from friends, coworkers, and even casual acquaintances. Messages like, "This is the most powerful thing I've seen today. You're glowing. I don't know what happened, but this energy? Iconic." And for the first time, the love I was receiving wasn't conditional. It wasn't based on how useful I was to someone else. It was simply love, for me, as I am. Alina didn't reach out. Neither did my mom. That silence? It used to terrify me. It used to make me feel like I had failed. But now, I saw it differently. Their silence wasn't a punishment. It was a release. They had shown me exactly where I stood, and I had chosen to step away. No more overextending. No more pouring into people who only saw me as a background character in their personal show. I had spent years thinking that loyalty meant staying, even when it hurt. That being family meant tolerating mistreatment just to keep the peace, but peace isn't the absence of conflict, peace is the presence of self-respect. So, what happened after Iceland? I started doing things for me. I enrolled in a pottery class, something I'd always wanted to try but never had the time for because I was always busy helping someone else. I reconnected with an old friend I'd drifted from because Alina never liked her vibe. I even booked a second solo trip, this time to Kyoto, Japan. Cherry blossoms, temples, and tea. No drama. Just joy. And when people asked, "Are you okay? Do you miss her?" I didn't say no to be tough. I just said, "I miss who I thought she was. But I don't miss feeling small. I don't miss the guilt. I don't miss being expected to shrink so someone else could shine." So here's the truth, sometimes, when someone removes you from their life, it's the greatest gift they could give you. They're not closing a door on you. They're opening one for you, to walk through, grow, and never look back. Don't chase seats at tables where you're clearly not wanted. Build your own, invite yourself, take up space, and don't be afraid to say the two most powerful words in your vocabulary: perfect. Clapperboard final message for viewers: sometimes being removed from someone's life is the best blessing in disguise. You're not too sensitive. You're not overreacting. You're just finally waking up to how little they valued your presence. So take that space they created for you, and fill it with your own joy. Sparkles, if you like this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Pushpin, would you have still gone to the wedding? Let's talk. Backhand index pointing down.